Good morning, everyone. I have an update on retirement. I guess, I entitled this message Partially Retired because one of my retirements went through. My federal retirement has been completed. My civil service retirement, which is great. It's one weight off my shoulder. So we've had some developments. It's been going well. It's exciting. There's some nervousness at the same time. My federal retirement, I left the federal service back in 2020 and became full-time military. I had 5 years of AUS status, which meant they would hold a position. I could come back to it with no questions asked if I wanted to. But that ran out in October, I believe, of 24. And then pretty much they threw me off the books. Well, I didn't retire at that time in case I wanted to go back to federal service. I didn't technically retire. I really didn't understand how it all worked. And then I decided, even when I retire from the military, I'm not going back to try to take a federal job again. So I am done. I've been at the same place for 36 years. I'm done. I don't want to work for the government anymore. So I finally decided I was going to retire from the federal government. So I went to the HRO office on the base, and they basically wanted nothing to do with me. They said, "You're not on our books anymore. You're on your own." They gave me like a pamphlet to read, or they gave me a website to go figure it out on, which was very crappy. So I had to figure out how to retire on my own. I called up to headquarters in Boston because I live in Massachusetts. The lady I called didn't respond to me either. So I basically learned how to do it on YouTube and doing some research. And one of the things they told you is, once you put in your retirement application, if there's any mistakes, it takes about 2.5 months to get a reply. So it's going to set you back if there's any mistakes. And I got to the point where I just didn't care. I said, I'm going to send it in anyway. And if there's any mistakes, at least I'll know where I stand. And if it takes another 2.5 months, okay, whatever. But at least I'll know what I did wrong and I can move on because I have nobody to help me. So I sent it in best I could. I did find 1-800 number where the man was very helpful. He worked for OPR. He worked for OPR. And he did give me, he said to me, listen, put the best information you can on the form and we'll figure out the rest. Even though they say it's really strict, you got to have everything on there. We're going to look up the information and verify it anyway. So that made me feel a little better. So I sent the form in back in November of 25. And I gave it some time. So November, December, January, February, 4 months went by and I never heard anything. And I said, well, maybe it's taking longer because of the government shutdown. But finally I decided maybe I should reach out just in case. So I sent them a letter because I don't know how to contact them. I sent them a letter to the same address that I sent the application to, the retirement application. And I got a response saying, oh yeah, you're missing a couple of documents in your application. So I said to myself, well, were you going to tell me? Like, how was I supposed to know? Anyway, I sent the documents in immediately. And they said, okay, we got them. We're processing your claim. About 2 weeks went by. Boom, claim was done. Which was wonderful. They said you should get a check in the mail for your back pay, which goes back to the day you wanted to retire. And your payments will start, your monthly annuity will start next month. I said, oh my gosh, that's great. What a weight off my shoulder. The thing that I might have done wrong at this point, which is very important for federal employees, is on the application, they want you to pick a date, your retirement date. And I didn't know what to pick for my retirement date. I didn't know whether I should pick the first date I became eligible to retire or what. I had no guidance. So the date I used was the date that they threw me off the books. So the date, which was 5 years from the day I left federal service, which was the day that they threw me off the books, which was I think October 24th, 2024, something like that. And that's the day that they started paying me, or the following month. Okay, I think it was September 24th. They started paying me as of October 1st. So it's the following month that you start getting paid. So I got back pay from October 1st, 24 until now, which is March of 2026. But now that I'm looking at it in retrospect, I'm thinking that maybe I cut myself short because I was eligible to retire back when I had my MRA, my minimum retirement age was 56 and a half, and my 30 years, I was eligible a year before that. So I'm not sure which date I was actually supposed to use. So what I've done since then is I've sent another letter back to OPR and explained this to them and said, hey, did I cut myself short here? And if so, is it possible to backdate this and receive the back pay, or is it too late? And if I cut myself short and I can't receive the back pay, well, lesson learned, I messed up. But at least I'll know from my own satisfaction. What did I do? Was I supposed to use a different date? And I will update the video and let people know so that you don't make the same mistake that I did, because I would be out probably $25,000, which is a big mistake. So that's important. The good thing is that here I am. I retired from the military in let's say it's today is March 21st, first day of spring. So April, May, June, July, 4 months, 3.5 months I retire from the military, which would be my other retirement. So right now I'm working just a day or two a week to use up my leave. It's a great feeling because I'm just hustling every day, doing my own things, having that freedom to work for myself, starting a little business on the side, doing things that I need to get done at home, visiting friends, having breakfast with family and friends, things that your whole life as you have a job you're not able to do. And it's an amazing, wonderful feeling. The only thing that I'm a little nervous about is finances, because I'm going to go from an AGR military pay, which is very good, to a retirement pay, which is going to be a huge reduction. And I'm a little concerned about, the first couple of months getting used to the difference and how I'm going to live on the difference. And I know it's going to work out, but I keep thinking in the back of my mind, maybe you're forgetting something. Maybe you're not taking something into consideration. What about health insurance? What about your mortgage payment? Is everything going to work out? So there's a little bit of a nervousness there because I live comfortable now. And I'm hoping things work out. But I am trying to put things in place to offset that. I am trying to start a part-time job, business. And I do things on the side. And I'm hoping everything balances out. Because I'm not the type that's just going to sit around and watch TV. I'll be 59 years old next month, and I don't just sit around. I always have stuff to do. So that's where I stand now. That's a little bit of an update. The federal retirement has gone through. I'm trying to check and see if I cut myself short, and working towards the military retirement. The paperwork is in. I'm waiting for it to be approved, and so that's where it is. So I'll keep you updated, and I'll give you an update on what happens with that early retirement, that the date that I used, and see how we made out with that. And so hopefully if you're a federal worker, this gives you something to think about, that date you use. I don't know how many people are going to be in the same boat as me who went on AUS status and didn't retire right away, because not a lot of people are in that boat, but for me it was that case. So anyway, good luck. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, ask, and we'll see you next time.